Okay, I'm sorry. We're looking at the center column where it says HP at the top. We're going to go down two more where it says equipment load. If you look at the numbers there, it's 17.6 slash 64.8. The 64.8 is my total equip load, meaning if I am under 64.8, I can still roll. I can still do those maneuvers. I'm just really slow. If I go over that, I can't even roll. Um, that's how heavy it is. So you can do that. You can literally overcumber your character. It's just very not, it's not good. But if you notice, mine is a 17.6 and I have a nice little fast roll, and that is because it's below half. And actually, I think it is, I'm not too sure about this, but there is a YouTube video out there about fast rolls where it talks about having no armor at all being the fastest roll with like no shields or anything, no weapons. You literally have the fastest roll, and then the more weight you add onto it, the slower the roll gets. So your super fast roll is when you have no armor at all. Ooh, that's sexy. Look at that. Whew. Whoa, look at that speed. Look at him go. Look at him go. Very nice. Okay, so that's very nice. But now we're going to throw on this heavy armor, and we're going to increase our weight up to 26.8. Now, wait a minute. I had a pretty good roll as if I was light armor, besides the clunkiness, but not just as good. But if I put on my weapons as well, along with my heavy shield of 3, it starts to slow down dramatically. So you can see where that comes into play, whether or not you want to be fast and agile and hit a lot and like dodge a lot, or do you want to just have a lot of defense and try to block. Now be warned, spoiler alert, there are going to be bosses with unblockable moves, so you will need to be more agile in the future. But if you build your character out right, you won't have to worry about that too much until you get to that point. Now that I think I kind of explained that a lot and kind of beat that with a dead horse, that is the importance of poise and looking at your weight and looking at equipment. I want to move on from that point. I've explained that enough. There's certain rings that will add to your equipment load. There are certain things you can do and certain things you can play around with that. Now that's all very nice and well. So I kind of given you a background about that. Now let's jump right into stats. We were looking at this before. If we look all the way in the left column, we have our levels, we have our souls, we have our vitality, atonement, endurance, strength, dexterity, resistance, intelligence, faith, humanity. I'm sorry I'm talking fast, but I want to get this in and not make it an hour-long video. Vitality level is what level you are at now, and your level, you gain a level every time you spend a stat. Souls is how many souls you have right now. Vitality is how much health you have. And it's very important in this game to focus a lot on vitality. Now the reason why I don't have a lot in it now is this is one of my test characters that I'm trying to get a special weapon that you get from killing a certain boss and getting his soul and leveling up an item, a weapon, to a certain level and then bringing it to a blacksmith. Now I looked it up online on how to do it, so I cheated. Yes, I know I'm a very, very bad person, but that's just the way you have to roll in this game, because this game is very unforgiving. This game, I feel like, is so cheap that in most games that I played where I fought like a boss or something that's like overpowered me, it will sometimes give a breather where it'll be like, okay, I'm sorry I got you nailed into a corner. Let me give you one chance to get out of it, and then we'll keep this up. Not this game. This game, the creatures seem to beat me into a corner and keep me there. And they don't let go. Which also brings up to a strategic thing is you can lock onto an enemy. And you'll be locked on and you'll constantly face that enemy. But sometimes it's better to turn it off in the middle of a boss fight so you can look at the direction you want to go and then just start running in that direction and then rolling out of the way. So, but that's here or there. So I'm jumping right back. I talked about vitality. Next is atonement. If you're going to be a sorcerer or a pyromancer or someone who's going to be casting a lot of faith or a lot of spells, or you need a lot of them, or you're going to be doing anything in that direction, you're going to want a lot of atonement, because atonement gives you the slots that you need to put into your spells. Now, let's jump into that discussion right now. What do you need for each of them? Well, the first of all, for sorcery, you need a sorcerer's catalyst, or something like it. You need at least a type of weapon type of catalyst. Next, pyromancy. The only type of item there is pyromancy flame. You can upgrade that to another type of pyromancy flame. Then there's a couple talismans in this game. I haven't collected any of them. Actually, I've only stuck with this one. I haven't really dove too far into the faith in this game. But so yeah, there's that. So that's pretty much what you need to cast miracles. So the catalyst was for, just to review, the catalyst was for sorcery, for fire spells, pyromancy, for miracles. Okay, so now that we got that out of the way, there's also requirements for each miracle. Oh my goodness, there's a lot to explain in this. For each of them, if you look at this, these are the ones that I bought. These are not augmented to my character right now. If you look at the symbols, there's magic, the description magic weapon. Under that, there's a little icon. That little stick is a representative of intelligence, is a symbol for intelligence. Next is the symbol for faith. Then we see, the intelligence is 10 for magic weapon and 0 faith required. And uses, 5 uses. Now 5 uses means that if I go to this, I see, well, if it's full up, it would say 5. Now to refill my magic, I just go to a bonfire and I rest. See? Back up to 5. Very nice. Now I have the spell, but I don't know how to equip it, right? What do? Well, I'm looking at my atonement in my far right now. I see I have 12, which means I have 2 atonement slots, because you get one at 10, and then another one at 12, and then it gets increasingly harder to get them. So there's a cutoff at some point that you really don't need that many more. So right now, I just go to the stats. I see I have 2. Okay. So what do I do to attach those things? Well, I go to my bonfire. I go to Atone Magic. I go to that and I select the first one. I pressed enter, and now I can select a magic. See? Just like magic. Ha ha ha, I made it funny. So, okay, now that I have the things that I want to use, I cycle through them by pressing up on the D-pad. And to cycle through these, I hope you figured out that you kind of do it like that, by pressing the direction arrow keys. Now, that covers that. Now let's move on to items. Let's say you get poisoned. There's poisoned, and then you've been toxic. And what do you do for each of those? Well, you collect purple moss clumps in a certain area, which I'll tell you in a later video, in my secrets that everyone knows about video. That's what I'm going to call it. I think it's a very cool name. Don't knock it until you try it. So purple moss clumps helps resist against poison. Whoop, I just unclipped it. But, oh, look at this. It tells me poison buildup in the body, and when it breaks out, it causes gradual damage over a period of time. Poison can... Look at this. We'll go right back to the top of it. I read all that junk even though I didn't mean to, because I'm just like that. If you look at the third line, it says reduces poison buildup. So as your poison is being built up, not before. If you take it before, no effect. But if you have like a half poison bar on you, and you'll realize it because it will be right on the character, like right, if you're watching the character, it will be kind of like near his back area, and you'll see like a purple bar. That'll most likely than not be poison. If you look at the stats, you see the poison resist, you see that little droplet. If you see that with a bar filling up, if it gets full and it turns yellow, you've been poisoned. What you'll need to do then is go to your items and consume a purple moss clump. Or you can consume a blooming purple moss clump, which you really wouldn't want to do, because this also reduces poison and toxin. So if you get toxic, to detox, you need to take the blooming purple moss clump. Very important. Just good to know on what to do. Now, if you suffer from blood loss, or if you're bleeding out, this blood-red moss clump will help out a great deal. Now, these come from a tree-like creature that you fight later on in the game. That should be a big hint on where to farm. Um, so that's how you get those items. Now, for this Dark Souls, I'm pretty sure everyone knows this, so you can cut it off at this point. I'm ending it now. I'm going to end it on this note, is that the humanity thing. You gather humanity in either an item or to use as a point in the top left corner. Mine's at 0, 0. And right now, if I couldn't, even though I can see my guy is all shriveled up and he's hollowified, if I couldn't see his face and I wanted to know if he was hollow or if he was alive, because I wanted to avoid, let's say, avoid PvP without turning off the internet, and I just wanted to just stay in hollow and avoid PvP. If I'm all gray, I'm all right with that. But if I'm a little bit white, then I'm alive. So in order to get, I'm dead now. Let's say I want to get alive. I use a humanity, but I also want to kindle my bonfire here. So I use another one, and I go to my bonfire over here. I rest at the bonfire. I reverse hollow. I spend one humanity to become human again, which this is just something that probably everyone does know, but I'm just going to go over it anyways. And I want to kindle my bonfire. Now I still need that 1. Now look in the top left corner. You see that 01? See how it's all white around it? That means I'm alive. Goody, I'm alive. Actually, I didn't really want to do that. I don't want this character to be alive. But, oh wait, I cannot reduce it any further without a secret right. So I can increase my kindling even further if I get a certain item. So that's something nice to know. And spoiler alert, it's in that direction over there through the graveyard. Pain in the butt. And also, another spoiler alert, if you want to know how to fight the skeletons and keep them down the easy way, turn this off now if you don't want me to spoil it for you. The way to do that is to have something that does holy damage. And holy damage is the thing that I have right here. If you look down at the Ox effects, the one with the number with the 102 all the way at the bottom, right next to the poison damage, that's holy damage. So if you have any numbers into that and you attack and kill a skeleton, you kill it. So that's the quick version of it. I'm pretty sure I missed a thing or two because I did that a lot quicker than I did the last one, my test one. So I'd like to thank you guys for paying attention and watching this all the way through. Please criticize and help me make myself better by pointing out things that I missed. And thank you again for watching, man. And enjoy the game.